episode of Five Lemons Laughing. I'm Amanda. I'm here with Penny, Melissa, and Drusilla. Morgan's not here, so we're sending her lots of love. So last episode, we talked about boundaries, consequences, and punishment. Today is the next step. It's actually how we communicate what we feel. That didn't make all the sense in the world. Today, we're talking about communication and how we communicate how we feel. So clearly, this is a little bit harder than you would think. So have you ever tried to express your feelings and ended up over-explaining or saying too much or holding it in until it came out sideways? Yep, I think I just gave a good example of that. Today, we're talking about emotional honesty versus emotional dumping. How to tell the truth without overwhelming yourself or someone else. Because sometimes what we call honesty is actually the thing breaking connection.
Yeah, Amanda, easy to say, right?
Or not.
Or not. Yeah. Well, most of us were never even taught the difference. I mean, we're just modeling what we saw in our homes. So we think being honest means either saying everything we feel. Maybe we had a parent who did that. Or we think being strong means saying nothing at all, like in my house. You just zip it. But those aren't the same thing, those two things. And sometimes what we think is honesty is actually the very thing that pushes people away. Emotional honesty is when you're connected to yourself and you can share what's true without losing yourself in it, losing yourself in the delivery. Emotional dumping is when the feeling is just so big, it just spills out all over everyone and everything. So neither of those things make you wrong. It just means no one ever showed us another way of doing it. So today we're going to slow everything down and we're going to make this really clear.
Yeah, this is a very powerful distinction that we're going to discuss today. So emotional honesty is sharing your experience calmly and clearly. Like, here's an example. I feel hurt and I want to talk about it. Whereas emotional dumping is when emotions flood out all at once. It's like showing up and throwing up. You might say, you never listen to me. I'm exhausted trying to please you. I can't deal with this, something like that. And this is where honesty can start to ruin the connection because it stops feeling like truth and starts feeling like overwhelm. I mean, you can hear the difference in the two deliveries. So we confuse them because we've learned extremes. You either hold it in and stuff it down, or you let it all out. So this episode is about that space in between. So let's unpack this.
Well, I think that the Holy Spirit once again had me in mind.
I love it. Thank you, Holy Spirit.
We have some stuff to unpack. So for the listeners out there who did listen to or watch our last episode, you probably witnessed me putting forth a great argument on why we don't need boundaries with our beloved. And that's based on trust. So the exact day that we recorded that episode, I had an example of honesty dumping with my beloved. So
I'm only laughing at because that's the way it works, right?
Yeah.
Well, were you the dumper or was he the dumper?
Yeah, so I called Holy Spirit to test me in this way and to see, and it's been a week later, but we will see how this has evolved. I'm sure my husband won't mind because I air all our dirty laundry all the time. So here we go. So it's time for open enrollment for my husband's insurance on his job. And so we normally, let's say early on in our marriage, I would say the first 10 years, we would sit down and do it together. And then we just kind of realized, this is pretty redundant. And so my husband did it by himself the last 2 years. He just click, repeat the same. So this year we decided to sit down and do it together again. And so when we got to the part about the life insurance, there was the policy that says, okay, you're covered, meaning my husband, you're covered for the amount of your yearly salary. Then there's the additional amount, which is voluntary, and it's up to a couple of $100,000 or something. And when we got to that part, my husband says that he thinks that part should go to his daughters split equally. And I'm like, think so. I think that I am still young enough that I might need that to live, right? And the conversation initially started out, I would say, with emotional honesty, or at least I thought. But by the end of the conversation, we were not speaking to each other anymore. No, let me back up. At the about 30 minutes in, my husband says, you see, this is not going the way we planned. So let's table this. And,
Smart man.
And I was good with that. Because again, let me just repeat in case some people didn't hear the discussion last week. We've been on this journey. It's been about 8 or 9 months now of just being in this wholly respectful place with each other. And so I felt very clear at that time that that was the right thing to do, was to just table it. Though we only had that day to get it done, because the next day was the end and we were going on vacation as well. And so I proceeded to finish dinner, and then we had dinner. He was sitting there with his laptop. And then so we had dinner, and then we went to take a shower. And then I noticed that he was acting a little awkward, like just bringing up random conversations. And I'm like, what is his deal? What's going on? Then so I waited till the next morning. And then I said, okay, we need to figure out this insurance thing. And then he changed the subject. And I said, holy, wait a minute. Did you go in and change that anyways without? And he said, yes. Oh my holy, I went totally left and dumped everything that I could think of from the last 9 months. Laid it into him. Oh my goodness. Oh, I dumped it all.
Oh.
And I, over the last week, I have questioned myself if I was spiritually spiritually bypassing. Was I suppressing that stuff? Or, what was really going on? So I'm going to put this on the table for the rest of you Lemoness to kind of dissect and help me figure it out, because I don't think I have really. I haven't judged myself in the way that I would have in the past. But I also am not really clear on what was happening through those 9 months for this to come back up and me to use it as kind of a weapon.
Wow.
How did it? Yeah, go ahead.
When these things were happening, like, the last 9 months, like if you pick one example, did it need to be said? Was it something that needed to be worked through? That's the first question.
I think so, because the gist of what I felt was the first thing came to mind was the fact that he did it. It wasn't necessarily the discussion, the premise, and his argument against mine. It was the fact that he did it, and it felt like betrayal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that's one of your core things too.
That
Drusilla.
is. So it triggered me to the ultimate level, and it took me back to like, oh my God, we are not where I thought we were.
Mm-hmm.
Were the things that were leading up, the things that you didn't say that you dumped, did they have any vibration of that betrayal in them?
It was all about betrayal. And I couldn't describe it at first.
Yeah.
It took, um, let's say that started at like 8 in the morning, and it probably wasn't until midnight that evening that I was able to express that that's what it was. I said,
Mhm.
had we continued the discussion, I probably would have landed at just do whatever you feel you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be okay. And, and, but I didn't get there because it just felt like betrayal for him to do it behind my
So
back.
Drusilla, have you had to say, okay, have you had to, I'm going to say acquiesce. I don't know if that's the right word, but have you had to do that frequently where you've had the discussion, you've discussed it for a while, and then you decide, okay, I'm going to be okay. So just do what you want. Is that usually the way that things end?
No, as a matter of
Uh-huh.
fact, oh gosh, I so set myself up with this. So even before the boundaries episode that we did, just the weekend before when we were in Florida, because my husband's sister passed and we were there for her services, we were having a discussion, and it was a couples discussion. As a matter of fact, it was so intense and so personal. We asked the only other guy who was there, and he wasn't in a couple relationship, to leave because we needed to have a discussion. And it was with two other couples, Patrick's brother and his nephew and their wives. And we've had these types of discussions before. And believe it or not, Patrick and I were the model couple. And we, to your answer to your question, Penny, the way we described it to them is we have a couple, I will say just a couple of items that when we talk about them, they're too charged. So we've tabled them.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been really good at doing that, which is why I thought at that time when he said it, okay, let's just table it, that we'll just come back to it when it's not as charged. And we have been able to do that about pretty much everything, even about my um, career filming and using more money than I'm bringing in, right? That's a pretty
Mm-hmm.
heated thing because it feels like an attack, an attack on my profession, where I understand that he's taking care of the finances for the last 4 or 5 years, right? So we've tabled that. And so we've been really good at that. So no, this was different. It was different. Yeah.
So my question is, I have a couple questions. One, like, what would you do differently? And if anything, and before that, like all of the stuff that just came out, were there ways to have, because conversation is about taking the space, is having these conversations. If were there any of these smaller conversations, if they were to have happened, would have set up this big discussion differently?
I I do feel that when we had the initial conversation and it was going left, I was clearly coming from a place of fear and insecurity. And I don't really know why. Um, but I knew it at the time and I wasn't able to pinpoint, why am I so fearful about this? Like, what does it really mean? And that's probably something that I could dig into a little more as well. As the trigger about the betrayal. There's both of those things happening. But the initial point that got us there was my fear about, was it the finances? Was it about his death in general? I don't know, but there was this overwhelming level of fear, obviously, uh, in that conversation, even prior to the what I considered to be an act of betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Why did he say he did it?
He did. Let me clarify. Do you mean what was his argument, or why did he do it without me looking? Which
Why
one?
did he say he went ahead and did it without you being involved?
He said that he thought that I knew that he went ahead and did it because I was standing there in the kitchen with him with the laptop.
But why
And
did he go ahead and do it?
Because he felt like it was his.
That was his choice.
Mm-hmm.
And did you feel like that was a choice to be made as a couple? Or, I mean, obviously you did because you said it, but
Mm-hmm.
so then how do you deal with a completely different take on the same thing?
Well, what I know to be true, but I couldn't feel in the moment, is that my safety in any aspect does not lie in an insurance policy.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah.
I know that. Um, you know, it just doesn't. And
That is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, not
And
in any aspect whatsoever does it lie in that, you know?
And taking you back to when you were talking about your boundaries, that blew us all away
Mhm.
was you would never expect your beloved to do anything that would hurt you, harm you, or betray you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're very convinced of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
I mean, and he wouldn't be doing any of those things. When you stay in the moment is how you qualified it. When you stay in the moment, you know those things to be true. But when
Yes.
you bring in the past,
Mm-hmm.
that's the fear. That's what comes
Yes.
out. And so you moved out of that knowing of the moment.
Mhm. Knowing that my safety and security is always intact,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah. And so what I'm sensing too, Drusilla, is that you went back to some age where you were betrayed and you felt,
Mhm.
and you relived it through your
I
relationship with your
did.
husband.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was so traumatic.
Yeah.
Dramatic and
Do you know
traumatic.
what age you were at that time?
Oh, gosh, I don't. I
Yeah.
didn't go back and do the work on that. As a matter of fact, I need to sign up for a session with you, Penny, on that. Um, yes, but definitely somewhere hidden in there and unresolved for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And money's a trigger. I mean, money,
Mhm.
it's a life insurance policy, but that is money. And a lot of people, that's a big, huge, hard thing to talk about because, like you said, it is about death. And some people like equate this money equals you love me, or this much money equals you love me. Um, and that's a huge, huge trigger for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I can even say to the degree of things that I said that, equates to love, right? Specifically, I said to him, like, you don't have three wives, you have one wife and two daughters.
Oh, three wives. Okay, I got it.
Right, because you're splitting your policy between the three women in your life.
Ooh, there could be something deep and juicy there too, Drusilla.
There could be. And I really want to, the whole podcast is about what we do. So I don't want to get off that, right? I want to.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were sharing with him,
when she was dumping,
when you were dumping,
when I was dumping.
Yeah. Did you feel like it was the truth when you were dumping?
In the moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So looking back, were you just releasing all the what was actually happening?
Yes, I was trying to make him feel the intensity, the intense pain I was feeling by his decision.
So you were punishing him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which makes complete sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
the perception of he did this thing to you and now you have to do it back to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's very human.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to go through this, say like you were to rewind the past, 9 months, would there have been any little blips that came up that you would want to address to take away, the charge, hindsight being what it was?
No, I honestly don't think so.
It's interesting, right?
I haven't thought of anything that I felt like I didn't address
Mm-hmm.
that needed it. I did say to him, and maybe some of this, maybe it's a general route. I'll say it and see how you all feel about it. So I did say to him, like, I'm a person that most people consider to be easygoing. And what I said to him during that discussion was, I can go with the flow on a lot of things, and I am truly okay with it. I said, but this is one thing that I said to him that no, I'm going to have to put my foot down on this one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said during the discussion. And when we were recapping it and saying it again, that's what I said to him. I'm like, I can go with the flow on a lot of things, but this is one thing that I felt like I needed to put my foot down.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a beautiful discussion because this is how it happens in real life.
Yeah.
You have a trigger like this, a money trigger, an old pattern, an old history. It's probably not just the last 9 months. It's like, this is all that comes up when you're in a relationship talking about real things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that I also love that you saw it all come and you were observing it and you felt the charge and you wanted the charge.
Mm-hmm.
Like you allowed the charge to remain because it was intense for you and you wanted him to feel the intensity. I mean, this is just so real that we all go through. If let's go back to our theme, did that hurt the connection in any way?
Oh my God, did it. Let me finish the story.
Yeah.
So in the middle of the day, I knew this was the last day. I dug my heels in so deeply that I said to him, we still have time to correct this. You're going to call HR.
And you had your finger out, right? Call HR.
That I worked in HR, so I know this.
Mm-hmm.
You need to call them and tell them that we need to change this back to what it was before. And reluctantly, he did. He didn't think they were going to do it, first of all, but he picked up the phone and he called them. And she said, sure, Patrick, we can change that for you.
Patrick went, shit.
And they did. They changed it. And then he got off the phone and then he was livid at me and he dumped on me.
Mm-hmm.
He dumped so bad. And then we went on vacation. And at the beginning of vacation, he was still so pissed. And then I was pissed again because I said, oh, you were gonna be fine going on vacation as long as I was catching the raw end of the deal. And so it was just all muddy at that point. All muddy.
Isn't that interesting? So it's like you began dumping and then that vibration lowered his vibration as well. And it just becomes like it just becomes a circle when this happens. Like,
a spiral.
it radiates out to everything around us when this happens. It's so powerful to really pay attention to how we're showing up, right? To really keep ourselves cleaned up and do our work. And yeah, and it's okay that this all happened because it's all for our learning, right? And so, I mean, I'm really curious. So like when we talked earlier in the episode, dumping, you're like talking fast, you're panicky, you're la da da da. And then when you got back into your connection space, I'm going to call it, I'm curious if you noticed how you presented things. Were you, was it faster, panicky, mean, or was it calm, cool, and collected?
Well, kind of how we managed it. We chose to manage it differently than we have in the past. So we were able to enjoy our vacation and
so you guys pushed it aside.
It wasn't perfect, but we didn't have any blow-ups or anything like that. It was a little edgy on vacation. And then we resumed a discussion when we got back. I will say that I was 90% back in my right mind and emotionally grounded, and he wasn't. But at the end of the day, it was like, okay, this is not necessarily forever. This is until open enrollment next year. And so by the end of it, it's like, okay, for either one of us, this is not the end of the world, And so I think at the end of the day, how I looked at it, even though I don't have a clear assessment of whether I was spiritual bypassing and all of that, how we recovered is important. And we certainly recovered a lot better than we have in the past.
And quicker too, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Much. Yes. So are we like completely disproving our whole premise here that like even, like sometimes it takes emotional dumping to get it all out? Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I would say that hopefully in the future, maybe not every time, but I can know with certainty that no matter what he decides to do with an insurance policy, that I am safe. I'm okay, and I'm going to be okay.
And I think it's all about observation and progress and practicing because Drusilla is saying next time she probably wouldn't dump. But the observation is that you dumped and then it was a punishment and then he punished back and then it could have become an endless tennis game of punishment, back and forth, and you get nowhere there. And that is your connection breaking. And so now you see, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. That's not how I want to be in this relationship with someone I love so much. So next time, you have a next time, because next open enrollment, how are you going to do it differently?
Or next situation.
Yeah, or next situation. But I think that just seeing how this works is a lot of information. It's great information for me to see how it's working for you, because I do that. And I can't see it in my own life a lot of the time because I'm in it. So, and I think, and bottom line is, I've been thinking a ton about the boundary thing. Absolutely a ton in the last week. But I just, I also agree that I think at some point in a relationship with your beloved, you should be able to come and have an emotional discussion that is from your heart, where you don't, explode all over someone. It's a great goal to have.
And I'm glad you brought up the boundary thing again, because the one thing that I knew for sure was that it was 100% ego. And ego said, aha, Drusilla, see, you do need boundaries. That was the ego. And that was 100% ego.
Yeah.
So
Completely.
perfect. That's why I knew it was the perfect lesson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda, what do you think? Do you think we just proved ourselves?
I think it just reaffirms there's no getting life wrong. We're in these situations. They're going to come up. We're going to just be a shit show sometimes, and we're going to be good sometimes. And it's about, for me, it's about just allowing it, accepting it. Like my word for the year is acceptance. So just accepting it, and to really come from that place of love.
Yes.
Yes, I'm in this. Yes, I'm emotionally dumping or whatever is going on in the life. But like in my heart of hearts, my true heart, I know that myself and whoever I'm having the conversation with are divine beings, and that it's going to be okay. So I don't know that we solved the problem came up with the answer of how to be completely grounded at all times and to only speak with a loving heart and not to punish. I don't think we achieved that, but
I don't think it's possible. Yeah. I think that we're human beings, and we're gonna break down and dump.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. I don't think we can try to be in our loving, caring heart all the time, but sometimes we get triggered back to old wounds. Something happens, like that's what happened with Patrick. He scratched that little wound and picked it open again, or you picked it open, but
let's be clear. I call that.
Yeah.
I call that into action for sure.
Yeah. So it's going to happen. And maybe the way we can kind of wrap this up and put a bow on it is like, what do we do when it does happen? Like what Drusilla is saying, she finally came back to her right mind because she took a pause. They took a pause and they decided just to put it on the back burner for a while. And, what else can we do when these things happen? I think that might be what can help our audience is like, harvest the learning, right? Harvest what, so like, what did you learn? You learned that you're going to be okay no matter what Patrick does with his insurance policy, right?
Yeah. And the ultimate lesson is that he is still as lovable as he was before, and so am I. And that's what makes the relationship stronger. I could say if this happened 5 years ago, we'd be talking about divorce because I'm not dealing with that. I'm not putting up with that. He's not putting up with me thinking that his daughters don't deserve that. And he's not, and I'm not putting up with the betrayal. And, it would just, that was the nature of it, And so now I can say that the recovery is that I can definitely see that I can't say no residual, but a lot less residual effect from having those blow-ups.
And I think one of the reasons that I wanted to go back and ask about the previous 9 months is because my personality would be to hold it in until it exploded out, right? Like that's just my personality. So I was hoping you were going to say, well, if I would have had this conversation and these smaller conversations and like worked it out, it wouldn't have blown up. That was the answer that I was hoping for. But that's, this is real life. That's not the answer you gave, which is totally fine.
No, but it could happen that way as well. I think the end result is the same.
Yeah. I think for me personally, it takes, it has taken a lot of practice having those uncomfortable conversations about smaller things, right? Then, so when the big stuff happens, like I have a pattern of, yes, we disagreed. I spoke my truth, and look, we're still I'm still alive on this earth, right? Like, so
You
like
survived.
I survived. So it's practicing. So when the really big stuff shakes down, I have a foundation of going through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just want to say a quick little observation is that perhaps Drusilla has done all that.
Yeah.
And it is still what happened. Perhaps she had all those little discussions because they have been working really hard in their relationship. And then this still happened. And that she still had to see that this is probably a reflex reaction, and that there is still another way to do it. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, because like, I'm like you, Amanda, just keep it locked in there until it just explodes, right?
Yeah.
And that's not the only way to discuss things. But a lot of people, just like our opening said, we've never learned something different, so we don't know there is a different way. And we're all learning on this journey to that we can change these things and learn how to do things from a loving place. And it is a work in progress, because I was never taught that. So I have to bumble around a little bit until I get to the point where my husband talks about an insurance policy and I don't take it personally. And we have a difference of opinion, and somebody's going to have, if it's still a difference, it's going to be one way and not the other. And that's going to have to be okay and from a loving place. I'll get there eventually, but I'm not there now. And this is the road to that place.
But I would assert, Melissa, that you're getting there faster nowadays.
Sure.
Yeah. So,
I don't stuff it. I don't Ziploc it.
So what do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah, what do you do?
Amanda loves.
What do you do? Are you dumping or less, or are you connecting more?
I let a lot go through me. I let a lot not become issues. I just let it go through. And then whatever comes back up around, then I will pay attention to it. But I don't energize absolutely everything. I also feel like I'm not living defensively in the world anymore, so I don't have to take up a fight for everything. And like Drusilla, I'm learning that I'm going to be okay no matter what. And so I don't have to fight for everything or worry about everything and make everything an issue. So, and I'm having a lot more like real conversations, without being attached to an outcome.
I love that. Beautiful. Don't live defensively.
Do you want my husband to come in and he'll tell you what's really going on?
Yeah.
That's what I think's happening in my own mind. But
Oh, I believe it's happening.
It is.
I believe it too.
Yeah. Wow.
Well,
Go ahead, Amanda.
I say, what a great discussion we have. It didn't actually like flush out perfectly, and it didn't flush out the way that I thought it was going to in my mind. But I think it is even better, right? Because it's it's just real life stuff, right?
Yeah.
There's no perfect answer.
Yeah, that's so true. I have a ton of stories where I've dumped, but that was my old me. I mean, I still sometimes do too, but it's fewer. And I'm learning. I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to handle this stuff because I was not taught as a child how to do this. And so it takes a lot of practice. This practicing, have a plan, go execute it, and then come back and see how it went. And I think that's what you were doing, Drusilla, is you're still kind of processing everything that occurred with the insurance situation. And but process it if you can and get some help. I mean, everybody on this podcast is got some ability to help you. We've all done some extensive training to support you if you're having any situations. So you could reach out to any of us because sometimes this work is not straightforward and easy.
Mm-hmm.
Takes somebody to help us see our blind spots. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, anybody have any other final words that they'd like to say?
No, I just can't wait to see your post-its.
This was kind of challenging for me today. I'm not sure why, but so the first one I got is no matter what's going on, everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the first thing. I think that's the main thing that I heard Drusilla saying, and then there's no getting it wrong. There's just there's no getting it life wrong. That's what that one says. Yeah. And then harvest the learning. You will survive. I mean, look at, we've all lived this long. We're still here. That's the good thing. And then I think my biggest post-it from today is don't live defensively.
Oof.
I mean, so live, I guess I should have, we don't want to have things that are don't, not, or no, but so live from love, right? Live being present, live in acceptance, live trust. I guess it's all about trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're going to dump. We're going to probably blow connection. But there are things that we can do to overcome that. And so we're not going to be perfect. But if we can stay present in the moment and not let the past or the future hijack us, then I think life can just be a little bit easier. And when these situations come up that, we might want to just dump on somebody, it's just better to have that pause and really kind of check in with yourself and find out what's really going on. Because for Drusilla, it really wasn't about the insurance. It was something deeper than that. And so if we can just pause long enough to really check in with ourselves, I think that might help.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so thank you so much for joining us today. We're figuring life out too, right along with you. And just remember that your transformation is our greatest joy. So tune in next week. We'll have another amazing episode.
Hey.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.